Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your breakfast bankroll for Wednesday, May 25th, 2022. It's Hump Day, as our buddy Scotty will tell us later today. Love that commercial. Love that commercial. All-time classic. Um, As I was telling my co-host, this is take two. Anyone that uses StreamYard, make sure you hit the go live button. So we only got a couple minutes in, but I'm here live. Uh, Anyone following my timeline last night? It was a crazy night in sports. To the ECSI VIPs, 3-0 last night. First five on the Braves minus the hook. If you played full game, sorry, we only played first five there. Angels first five. Syndergaard absolutely lights out for the first five and win there. And then we had the Giants full game. So go back to my timeline, go to YouTube, go whatever. Jock Peterson for president. In a nutshell, the Giants had an 8-2 lead. Sixth inning, 2 outs, give up a 2-run homer, and it's 8-4. And I post on my timeline, I've seen this before. Don't you dare do it again. Well, in the eighth inning, the Miracle Mets of 2022 down 8-4 decide to put up a touchdown and an extra point to make it 11-8. And so, as you can tell, I'm back east, by the way. I should be catching my cat nap, getting ready for today. So, bottom of the eighth, Giants get two guys on, and here comes Jock Peterson, who's already got 2 homers. And I think it was 1 or 2 strikes, decides to hit one into McCovey's Cove. And after the game, they talked to him, and he says Barry Bonds was in the building, and he talked to him for a while before the game, and he was able to relax him a little. Well, he ties it. It's 11-11. Bedlam. In come the Mets, top of the ninth, leadoff triple. I can't script this. Hollywood can't script this yet. 1 out later, sac fly, 12-11, and of course the game's over. In comes Edwin Diaz. Leadoff single, double play, 2 outs. Thanks for playing, right? Single. Hook up to Jock Peterson. Why not tie the game up 12-12? And next batter, single, 13-12. Thanks for playing. A 3-0 sweep for the VIPs. Just an absolute crazy day there in San Francisco. We have some day baseball today. We have a few games this evening. We have Celtics versus Heat, Game 5. We'll talk about that. I think, let me just scroll down, but I don't want to say, let me just double check it. I think, let me just double check. Yeah, St. Louis, Colorado here. Colorado looking to wrap this one up here. I'll open at minus 230 now, minus 255. So I'm going to bring my co-host in before I go to the next lead. So let's bring him in. From the Windy City himself, the one and only Mr. Riley Magnuson. Good morning, sir.
Morning, my friend. I'm licking my wounds from that beatdown last night, but we'll move on to there's 2 more games left out of this one. Nobody was excited for a Dylan Cease start after what he's done all season long. It was we didn't have any expectations last night, so you can have that one. You can have that one. First pitch, was it first pitch? I know it was first at bat. Was it first pitch?
I get the DirecTV MLB package. I got 8 games going on. Of course, I get the volume on the Red Sox. I'm at my Mac as I'm doing the work for today's card.
Mm-hmm.
First pitch. Here's a drive. Deep left field. Way back. It's gone. First pitch. 1-0. Now,
first pitch.
There used to be, and I haven't done the numbers this year, but there used to be an amazing stat and trend to follow. I'm not a big trend guy, but if a team comes to your park and sweeps you, the next time they play, go back on the team that gets swept on the first game.
Yeah.
Because they were hitting it like an 85, 88% clip. The Celtics, the Red Sox, 16-3. Uh, Cease got lit up by the Yankees, then comes back to the Cease that we know, and then again gets lit up yesterday. You're rolling out Giolito today. I go back to Marathon Monday a year ago when the whole world was on Giolito, and I don't think he got out of the second. You're facing Rich Hill. It's a good spot for a bounce back. Now, you talked about it. You were going to try to get to this game. Most of the broadcasts, and if anyone has Nesson, and you're a real baseball fan, Eck and Kevin Millar were doing the color yesterday, and it was just, between cheese and Eck is just amazing, and then you add Kevin Millar in there. It's worth the price of admission.
No, totally, and I've heard those guys a little bit, just having watching whether it's MLB Pass, or I'm not even sure what it's called, extra innings, or finding out whatever way online to legally stream these games for sure. But it's a solid combo. As far as tonight, here in this, living in Chicago, I'm less optimistic that we're gonna play this game tonight. We might get pushed to a doubleheader tomorrow. Is kind of where I'm leaning to. I've got tickets for the game, so. If we're a day game tomorrow, that might be where I'm sitting. And last I checked, I'm not even sure. It might be some bad weather tomorrow, so we might be in trouble for tonight's game and potentially one of these games tomorrow, if not both, if we get a doubleheader. But Cease, I mentioned some of these games against teams that are bigger names or bigger situations, even in a regular season, has kind of been a spot where he hasn't really risen to the occasion yet. And I don't know if that's a case where, with yesterday necessarily, because obviously you mentioned the, getting swept and then coming back into town with their offense rolling and not even, not to mention, and obviously Trevor Story, I know, hits a home run. I tuned out of that one pretty quickly, so I think when I tuned out, it was 7 or 8 runs, and then I quickly checked back, because I think someone was sarcastic on Twitter, and it was like, there we go, that's what's going to start the comeback, and it was like it made it like gave the Sox 3 runs, and I got excited, and then I pop it open, and it's 16-3, and I was like, oh, son of a bitch. Okay, so we move on. Whether or not the Sox look at the Red Sox or not, we've got the Cubs coming to the South Side this weekend for only 2 on a Memorial Day weekend, which I don't want to rant about the scheduling of the MLB as far as why that doesn't make any sense, but nonetheless, I hope we get some action in here because the White Sox need to bounce back after that beatdown yesterday.
Before we get into today's schedule, I talked about it 2 days ago. Anyone that wanted the Celtics minus the 7.5, Vegas was giving us the heads up. 12-2 after a loss, and they were right around 20-point victories, and they go box to wire. Yesterday, I clearly made it a point by saying NBA needs at least a game 5. I felt comfortable. Anyone wanting to take Dallas minus, I said the money line. I hate to leave a 1.5. Just get the win. And comically, Dallas goes box to wire. They take full control after 3 with like a 28-point lead or something stupid like that. Yeah. And in come the reserves. They cut it to 8 with about 3, like 2 minutes or maybe minute and a half, whatever. Right. Dallas wins by double digits. They get their game 5 tomorrow. What was your thoughts going into the game, and what did you think after the game?
Yeah, honestly, I thought it was going to be a little bit closer. You mentioned yesterday that, either the Warriors are going to try and step on their throats and close it out, or maybe they're kind of like they did against Memphis, kind of cruise control and kind of punt it to the next game, which obviously is what they ended up doing. I mentioned I thought the Mavericks were going to win that one, but like I said, I thought it was going to be a better game. And I think the Warriors close it out in 5. Obviously, you saw, we don't need to go too deep into it. You saw Steve Kerr give a lot of emotion in last night's, I think it was before the game, if I'm not mistaken, the press conference about what happened in Texas. And so I think they're going to come back with a lot of emotion one way or another coming into game 5. And I think we could have a 5th blowout in that series, honestly, if we're being serious here. Maybe the Mavs are backs against the wall and they make it a game, but I've got the Warriors closing this one out in 5 and kind of not really licking their wounds, because there's not much wounds to lick going into what would be the finals, hoping that the Celtics and Heat beat up on each other, which seems to be happening a little bit. But I think the Warriors will cruise and then have a nice rest advantage going into the finals.
Going to South Beach today, I send out 3 emails a week to potential new clients, subscribers, just introducing ECSI, and I send out a freebie. And our freebie tonight, I like to zig when they zag. And if you dig deep into this series, uh, it's been in every other series winner. And, I think it was set up by the fact that game one, the Celtics were missing Horford. They were missing Smart. Miami rolls them. In comes a healthy Celtics team. They roll them. Now the Celtics go to minus 300 in the series. They go back to Boston on Saturday. The whole world's on Boston. They're -7. It's going to be an absolute blowout. Heat come out 10-0, 10-1, never look back. Late rally by the Celtics, thanks, but no thanks. Game 4, Celtics come out 18-1, thanks for playing. The whole world's on the Celtics. They opened up 1.5-point favorites. I think it will get to 2 by tip-off, assuming everyone's playing here. The whole world on the Celtics. I always talk about the public remembers what they saw last. And it was Tatum going off. He had 24 at half, ends up with 31. The Celtics doing whatever they wanted when they wanted. Now South Beach, Miami, backs against the wall. They know if they lose this game, they're probably out of wood. Not that they haven't won in Boston yet, but by winning this, they're guaranteed at least the 7th game back home. Right. Initial thoughts going into today's game.
I think it's going to continue. I still think the Celtics win this series. I would, regardless of how it shakes out, I would find it hard to believe the Celtics lose in that game 6. And I think this one. I think they want this one to go 7 games. And so I think this game. I've been saying this for the last few days, and it hasn't come to fruition. But I think this is going to be a good game, unless the Heat come out and smack them in the mouth. But this Heat team, I mean, they obviously have some flaws, but they have a lot of damn resiliency, man. And, I have always said we're at least due for every series. You're at least due for 2 fantastic Jimmy Butler performances. And so I think we're going to get something like that tonight where he steps up and puts the team on his back potentially. And really paces this Heat team to at least coming down to the wire in this one. And it's last 3 minutes, whoever's got the most gas in the tank is gonna win this one. But I kind of if I'm reading what you're saying, I'm interested in the Heat a little bit in this one. But I'm just desperate for a good game, man, and one that we can watch past halftime for fuck's sake, man. But I like and Bam Adebayo obviously is important. The other role players on this Heat need to step up, but I think somebody's going to put together a big game for the Heat, kind of how whenever their backs against the wall. In the last few seasons, obviously they've had a lot of postseason experience, and there's been so many times where in this spot, and I mean backs against the wall. Obviously, if they lose, their backs will be against the wall, but going to Game 6, you feel like they need to get this game. So I think they're going to come out swinging, and I think they're going to put together a nice game plan, and somebody's going to step up and give them the win tonight.
I like to try to go back and refresh people's memories. And just from what I see, what we see here at ECSI, I go back to game 5, 6, and 7, Celtics and Bucks, 2-2, Celtics favored by 5. Bucks come in, steal game 5, go back home 1.5-point favorites, lose game 6. Vegas sticks to the 5.5 for game 7. Celtics roll. It's almost like they're setting you up. They have Biff's almanac. Yeah. Okay. What they're telling you very simply is the Celtics are going to be favored in the last 3 games. If there's a 7th game, the Celtics will be favored in the game 7. So I right now agree. The world's on the Celtics. I think the Heat find a way to steal this one, whether it's a close game or not. Celtics come back. They'll be favored by 6.5 or 7. They'll take care of business, and then that gets the NBA their 7th game on Memorial Day weekend. Celtics minus 1.5 or 2. There's your close game. Celtics win like 103-100.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you, and whether or not they feel like they have control, I don't know. But I mean, the buzz of these playoffs are the least entertaining playoffs that we've seen in a long time, especially with the recency bias of these 2 series. The buzz is starting to pick up, man. And so I think they're going to do, if they have any type of control, they're going to do whatever they can to at least give us some type of entertainment here in these last 2 or 3 games of this series, I think.
Shout out to Mr. Marty Lowe of Alabama as we're getting closer to SEC football. By the way, I haven't seen a Mr. Manning sighting on where he's going yet. I told you a few weeks ago, rumors were that he was going to head to Georgia, which obviously you wouldn't like to see. Maybe he shocks the world, shocks Bama, shocks Georgia, and follows in someone's footsteps and goes to Ole Miss, which our producer, Mr. Kiefer, would love, but we don't see that coming right now. I'm going to pull up the board. Let me see where we'll go today. We'll try Wager Talk. If you want to follow along, go to wagertalk.com/free odds. You can follow along with us here. Some day baseball. We talked about the Celtics, obviously, but you got a 12:35 game, Colorado and Pittsburgh, 3:45 Mets and San Fran. They must be exhausted.
Yeah.
Zapuki, that's not a good name if you're a pitcher, versus Junis. Dodgers looking to keep beating up on Washington. Urias versus Fetty. Good matchup. Ashby versus Darvish in San Diego. And Detroit, Minnesota. Garcia versus Dylan. Don't call me Al Bundy. Oakland, Seattle. Blackburn versus Ray. That's your day matchups and the evening slate there. The board's yours. Anything jumping off the board so far today for you, Mr. Riley?
Yeah, I had a couple that I wanted to at least chat about. One that I was interested in something, but there's still something fishy to me about this opening one, and maybe it's just because the Pirates aren't a very good team. But Colorado is actually, I didn't realize this, on the road. They are dead last versus right-handed pitchers in batting average, OBP, and slugging. So dead last on the road against right-handers in those categories. So they have been brutal against right-handers, and that's what they're facing today in Thompson. It seems like he's at a point, however, where you would expect some regression. He's been very good through the first 5 of the last few starts, and so you would probably be at a point where you're expecting regression. So I'm staying away, just kind of, I do expect regression, but this offense on the road against righties has been really, really bad. Pittsburgh, last I checked, they were minus 135, 138. On the money line on DraftKings and FanDuel. But on the first 5 on FanDuel, it was the full game minus 138, the first 5 minus 122, and you got a guy who's been really good in the first 5 in Thompson. So a few red flags kind of contradicting me in this one, and so I'm probably going to stay away, but at least a few things of note out of this one for me in this first one up. How about you?
I have been dead wrong on both these teams. When bad teams are bad, they tend to hit the system a lot where whatever site you're following, you're finding reverse line movement. You're finding all these little quirks, and they're Jedi mind tricks.
Yeah.
I know Scott on the closing bell for us on Monday had Colorado. They lose. I told them you should probably come back yesterday. They win 2-1 in extras. The Thompson kid, I caught not wind of him. I watched him specifically last week. He's pretty electric. His ball was jumping. I liked what I saw. I haven't been in for the first 2 games. I think I'm going to follow your lead here and pass as well.
Yeah, it's just a couple that split that I mentioned last is really what kind of turned me away. I was expecting the first 5 for the Pirates to be minus 140 or higher, and it's less than the full game, which, that one kind of turned me away. Detroit and Minnesota's got some rain. I was looking at the weather at that one. I bet they get delayed if not rained out in that one. You mentioned it. I don't want any part of it because the whole series has been weird, let alone they were up, I guess late last night. But that Mets and San Francisco game, Sapuki, I think this is his first start of the season, only one career start, and it was not good. Giants minus 125 or so on the money line. 13-3 score in the first one, 13-12 last night. Are you staying away from this one, or you got anything you're interested in out of this one?
Big Junis fan back in the day when he came up with the Royals. You know what? I'm going to take my 1 unit with pride, and I'm just going to stay the hell out of touch in that game. I am not going back. It's been too weird, man.
Yeah, that series has been too weird. The other one that I was actually interested in for sure, probably the most interested on the slate today, Milwaukee and San Diego. Ashby versus Darvish, you mentioned. Darvish was very, very solid in his last time out. 7 innings, 6 hits, no runs, no walks. I like Darvish to at least. I'm a big believer that he's got typically when he goes off for one like those, he's typically got a second one following him in his back pocket. I think I personally believe he's a guy that follows up really good starts. A single start with a really good second start. So I'm on the Padres today. I'm interested, very very interested. Let's see. Padres money line. Padres first five money line. Maybe the first five I might be a little more interested in. Padres pretty solid against lefties, which we got against Ashby today. But under 7.5 was around -120, so I'm a little interested in that as well. But I'm believing in Darvish and the Padres today at home against Milwaukee here.
Looking at the splits, 55% of the bets on Milwaukee as they rally and not rally, they bounce back and win yesterday, 4-1. But 90% of the money coming in on Darvish. Very interesting, very intriguing. I probably at this point early today would lean Darvish first five. I would get in there. I think they're in a good spot to try to win this series. I too think Darvish, is an ace or was an ace. He's showing flashes.
Yeah.
As you said, Padres have done very, very well against lefties. Machado having an MVP type year right now. Did get some disturbing news. I have Mr. Tatis in our fantasy team, our high stakes, and we were hoping for some good news.
Yeah.
Technically could come off the IL on June 7th, which would be 2 months, the 60-day.
Right.
Reports didn't come back well yesterday. We were hoping to get the cast off, get a couple of weeks of swinging. So it looks like it's going to be more towards the 90 days. But they're currently right now 28-15. The Brewers are 27-16. So they've done well without Tatis. Obviously, it'd be nice to add him to the lineup, but it doesn't look like it will be anytime soon.
Yeah, and I like the Brewers in general, but yeah, I like Padres in this spot. A couple other ones. That was really the one. I think there was one other that a couple other that I was interested in chatting about. Maybe we can find something there. Oakland and Seattle. I know neither of us are really big Robbie Ray fans. I'm not sure what to expect out of this one. Mariners -175. I think he's got a nice start on him against the A's today. That offense has obviously been, not very good, and he handles that lineup pretty well. So I don't know if I'm interested in -175. Blackburn's obviously been really good, so I'm not sure what to expect out of him today. Probably staying away, but any interest in this one out of you?
Been fading Ray most of the year. That was our motto before the season started. Blackburn has been real efficient for Oakland. The problem, obviously, with Oakland is they just can't score. They did get the win yesterday. It could be a good bounce back spot for Seattle. Obviously, not going to pay the tax. I'm not a big fan of full game run lines. So with that, it's tough to give up the half run first five, knowing how well Blackburn has pitched. So it's one of these. I like where your eyes are. I think the thought process is good there, but how do you get in there? The only way that we could probably get in there is minus the hook. Hope Seattle scratches out a run or two early, and hope you get the Cy Young, Robbie Ray.
Right. And I think the conclusion, for me, I'm staying away. I think the conclusion is if Blackburn only gives up one run, you're in hot water for sure. Some other ones I know, Cubs and Reds. It looked like that one could be rained out as well. It was going to get Hendricks and Castillo in that one. And then Miami and Tampa Bay, Rasmussen versus Poteet. Rasmussen has been very, very good in the first fives. Any interest out of this one? Poteet's also, he doesn't typically go 5 innings. He's been very good when he does pitch, but it's been in that 2 to 3 to 4 inning stints. And so I typically don't do any first 5 unders, but this might be a spot where I'm interested in a low scoring first 5. Maybe Tampa Bay first 5 with Rasmussen on the mound here.
I'm going to backtrack to your Chicago Cincy game because that was my POD. It was, I think, the third or fourth start now for Castillo. an
Yeah.
overnight number of 125. Circa now has it at 140. And what really stuck out, the Cubs have won the first two games. I was really looking into a Cincinnati Reds minus the hook first five for sure here, even though Hendricks can be all world, though we know what Hendricks can be
Yeah.
when he's not on. Really going to have to dig deep into the weather today because I hate the start and stops. I will not get in there. You are just hurting yourself long term. So thank you for the heads up there. Miami, following our good friend Craig Mish, they are just free falling right now. They just can't
Right.
get anything done. Unfortunately, Tampa just beats them up again. Uh, Rasmussen for us has not been good. We've taken him in a few spots and he has not come through for us. Obviously, Miami in a bullpen game. Can they scratch one out? Can they stop the bleeding? With what looks like could be a real short board in the MLB today. I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, is the value with Miami, or you try to keep going to the well and beating up a team that's struggling right now?
Right, and I for me, I'm staying away in this one. These teams that have been in this minus 170 range on the first five, I like them, but I like them to kind of edge out these wins, not not win 5-2 in the first five. You know what I mean? So from that standpoint, it really pushes me away from them. So. Next one up, as far as line pricing compared to what it's been the first two games of the series, Baltimore and the Yankees. Yankees last I checked about minus 160, minus 170. JP Sears on the mound. I personally do not know much about this guy. Left-hander, 2 appearances so far this season, only an inning pitch. So I don't know if this is getting him out of the bullpen and now he's going longer, or if this is a bullpen day for the Yankees. Any insights as far as that? Because I'm not familiar with this guy at all here.
No insights, but I see an overnight number of 220 and a corrected line of 167. If that doesn't tell everyone to come back, their tails up, the public and the DGens will be in and all in with the Yankees today. For me, it's a siren to say, okay, if you're looking for action, Baltimore first five. I'm not saying you have to go all the way for a full game. And over that overnight was 9. That is now 7.5 at circa 8 under minus 125 at our friends at Westgate. Smells and smells some more.
Yeah.
I would lean Baltimore. We'll take some more research into that. But the only Sears I know used to be a department store called Sears and Roebuck.
Right. And I think if I'm playing the Orioles, I might be more interested in that first five. FanDuel over here's got them for the full game plus 140 on the money line, plus 126 on the first five money line. Because these games, I mean, not only these two games here, but I don't know if it was a week or so ago, these games in the late innings have been really back and forth and bizarre. So, you might, if you're interested in just, fading whether it's Sears or a bullpen day here, and you think think the Orioles have an advantage early, maybe the first five is the way to go there.
You talked about obviously Hill Giolito. That's probably most likely going to be rained out. Bounce back for Houston in the closing bell yesterday. Scotty had the Houston Astros minus the 1.5 full game. I talked about maybe I had already sent out our alert. I says that was great eyes. Was going to go back and send it out. I left it on the desk. They bounced back and covered the run line. I know there was a stat earlier a few weeks ago when Quantrill as a starter, whether with Cleveland or his prior team, I think it was the Padres, when he was over 105 underdogs, their team was like 1-21, and this was like 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. And I don't think it's gotten any better. Javier opens up at minus 185 now, 195. Obviously, we can't get in there on the money line. Any thoughts of a first five or full game minus the half or minus the 1.5?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm looking at Quantrill right now. They're 2-5 straight up on the full game when he's taken the mound this year. So I he was really actually he was a lot better last time out, but it was against the Reds. I'm probably going to stay away from this one. Quantrill, in a full season, when he's rolling along, I do kind of like him, but I don't know what we expect out of him today. I think this Astros lineup could hit him up a little bit, so I'm honestly staying away from this one. He's been a little too weird for me, and that offense it's really hit or miss, and it misses a little bit more than it hits. So I'm going to stay away from that one today for sure.
All right. I guess the only one we really didn't touch upon, Phillies in Atlanta, Suarez versus Morton. I have been fading Morton. He's been good and then bad, bad, good, bad, bad. Suarez has been pretty decent for the Phillies. Last night, Harper, 2-run homer to take the lead. And then obviously what we know best is the Phillies don't have a back end and they give up the run and then the winning run there. Morton opens up minus 140, now 167 corrected overnight line. I guess Vegas likes the fact that Atlanta to follow the ninth inning momentum and carry that on. And under over that 8.5, now 9. Maybe there'll be some run scoring there. Any thoughts there?
Honestly, at first one, it looks like maybe it's one you check the weather out again. This one's actually forecasted for some rain an hour or so before game time. This one could be rained out as well. But as far as the correction of the line correction, that was interesting. As far as Morton's concerned, I'm not a huge Morton fan, so I probably, if this one does pan out, I'll probably stay away from this one as well. I'm not, I like Ranger Suarez, but I need to see him string together a few more nice outings or nice flashes of outings before I jump back in the boat with him on this one.
8:00 tonight, Blues Avalanche. You can currently get the Avalanche at minus 3,500 to win the series. I'm kidding, guys. You can get the Blues at plus 1,600. I saw on social media last night, someone put 50,000 to make 1.5 million on the Mavericks before the game to come back and win the series. Sheesh. And they would be the first team in history of the NBA to come back from a 3-0 deficit. So that was kind of comical money to burn, obviously. The Avs opened up I'm not showing an opening line there. I'm showing them minus 230 now at circa 255 at Westgate and under over a 6 and a hook. What they obviously must win for the Blues. So if they're down late in the third, they'll probably pull the goalie with 3, 4, 5 minutes to go. A lot of people have been cashing a lot of overs this way. Some people will try to get creative tonight. Colorado in regulation, Colorado minus the puck line. We have Avs to win the West. We have Avs to win the Cup. Unfortunately, we don't have anyone on the east side. But with that said, Blues got a chance, or it's thanks for playing?
It's probably thanks for playing, right? That's the sense I get. Again, I always say I'm not the hockey guy, but I mean, having the Blues, kind of in our backyards here, you do feel like this is probably the end of the road. You got a nice gentleman's sweep. You got your pride and get the one win, and then I think it's on to the next one here for the Avalanche, in my opinion.
So weather will be a big factor, everyone. Riley has made that clear. You guys got to dive in. You got to do your homework. You do not want to get into any start and stops. You don't want to be betting hard-earned money on starting pitching that goes to first inning, an hour rain delay, and now you're depending upon a bullpen who, as we can see in these games, the bullpens already are starting to leak bad. Yeah. Scotty Webb has been talking at length that the offenses were coming. Well, guess what? They're coming just like June. So with that, closing thoughts, my friend.
Yeah, nothing crazy. I just hope that we get some good basketball for once, for a change, and hopefully we get some nice weather and get a nice healthy slate of baseball going. We've obviously got the day games rolling in, so I'm excited for the day, excited for the week. Should be a nice weekend ahead of us as well, and into June. I think the offenses are going to pick up even more than what we're seeing now because the weather obviously still has a ways to go as far as at least in my neck of the woods, heating up with some consistent wind. We've been back down into the high 50s and low 60s over here. So the dog days of summer, I think, are going to have the ball jumping out of the park a little bit more than we're even seeing now. So excited for the next few weeks of baseball, my friend.
For myself, anyone that's wants to stick and stay at 1 o'clock, Andrew McGinnis at McGinnis Picks at Wager Talk, our weekly cross the border. We'll be talking about pucks, props, and all kinds of NHL action as Andrew continues to heat up the pipes and the sirens there in the NHL world. At 6:15, give or take, myself and Scotty Webb will be here for the closing bell. I guess we will be your meteorologists. The afternoon games will be over or rained out, and we'll get into that evening slate. Anyone, again, that wants some NBA action, myself and Riley both think we're going to get a good game today. I think we both lean the Heat. If you want the Heat, hold on, because I think you're going to have nothing but Celtics money. You could get that up to 2.5. So hold back there on that. Other than that, be patient. There's no reason to run to the window and bet an 8 o'clock game this second. Could get a better number at 6:30. We don't know. There could be a late scratch. And that's what we're here for, to monitor the games for you. We are your very own sports brokers here. That's what we do here. So if you are wagering and investing today, please do it responsibly. If you do have a problem, pick up that phone. Why? There's an 800 number available. Ask for help. Why, you ask? Myself and Riley care. We want to see you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest. From Riley Magnuson at Riley_Magnuson. The one. We wish everyone a blessed morning. Enjoy your afternoon. Hope you catch us back at 1 o'clock with Andrew McGinnis and the closing bell around 6 o'clock. Have a great day, guys. See you soon.